Do guys actually like crazy girls? That's the process of being single. You date around, meet some eccentric types, and then you're like, I gotta settle down. I almost died last week. True for all genders. I think it's more that a guy's likely to put up with bullshit to have good sex. Girls do it too. Neither is conducive to a relationship. Can concur. As a woman, I have put up with some serious bullshit because the guy was fire in bed. I remember seeing a female comedian say once that the best sex of your life will probably come from some desperate failure of a man needing a place to live lol. You always F a little harder knowing your place to sleep. That night depends on it lol. This is both funny and sad. Depends on the level of crazy. There's crazy fun, crazy, and then badass crazy. Crazy fun is generally the crazy everyone loves. Everything is just perfect, and they are just fun to be around. Crazy is sorta the same, but a little more edgier, more interesting, more open-minded. Then you got badass crazy. You just want to stay the F away from that. That's like restraining order crazy. Move to another state or even country crazy. Like open a closet and they have a shrine for you type crazy. This guy crazes. Yeah. I was married once. We learn after one. Depends on what kind of crazy. You gonna wake me up randomly at 7 AM on Saturday to go skydiving? Rock and roll. You gonna wake me up randomly at 7 AM on Saturday by stabbing me with a fork? F no. Stabbing you immediately after you jump out of the plane so you can't give it the medical attention it needs. Whoa. That's crazy on God mode. Right there. Only in bed. Exactly. To F yes, to marry no. My husband married a crazy one and it's worked out for him so far lol. Keep hope alive my fellow crazes. I was crazy until my man came. He taught me to be healthy. I'm the same. Taught me unintentionally to calm my crazy. No one is actually into crazy people except other crazy people. But like everything else, there's levels to this shite. More like water likes to meet his own level. Crazy girls are freaks in the sheets, it's true. I once had a crazy girl who was amazing in bed, but the next day called me 149 times. I don't actually think it's true. I think it's just a stereotype to justify men doing dumb s for women. The most freak girls I've slept with were the reserved and mild-mannered ones, waiting till the bedroom to let loose. I've had some starfish crazy girls. For me, crazy girls are always kinda bitches as well. They're nuts, so it's not like they're super concerned for your happiness. Why would that all of a sudden change in bed? Usually I find crazy girls selfish lovers. Fellas, listen. Stable girls who love are actually the best because they are considerate lovers and communicate with their partner and want to satisfy them. Crazy girls are crazy for a reason. Are agreeable and inconsiderate. For instance, people love giving head because it satisfies their partner and the idea of that turns them on. A crazy person doesn't somehow all of a sudden like gagging on your D till they can't breathe because they're crazy. Most crazy people aren't actually crazy, they just ignore social norms. Impulsively do things that make them happy without a care of consequences or others. This isn't a recipe for good sex. Lol. The concept of crazy girls great at sex is propaganda from men who just make excuses for women they like or are hot. I used to be crazy. I know. I had tons of hookups and impulsively get horny and promiscuous. It's because I was unmedicated bipolar. I'd come over drunk, get mine and do whatever, cause I didn't care. It's easy to get your orgasm and leave when you're crazy. It's all about you. Medicated me. Asking partner what they like and obsessing over pleasing them happens at my least crazy times. Dispel the myth that crazy girls F well. For some reason the crazy emotional nutcase girls want to bang all the time, anywhere, and do any nasty things you can think of. Still not worth it. But it is a crazy ride until you can't stand it anymore. It's mania. Did you mean that literally? All humans are naturally attracted to passion and fire. Someone who is crazy is more than likely pretty unrestrained and fiery in all aspects of their life. So in the bedroom, they're acting like they've never felt this much passion in their life. Outside of it, they're going to keep the intensity going, even when you want them to just chill out and go with the flow. For example, It's really hot when a girl says I know I just met you 5 minutes ago, but I need you so much. Tear my top off and let's hook up in the nearest empty room. It's slightly less hot when you wake up and the same girl says I still need you. So much so that I went through and blocked every other woman in your phone, including your mom. This is the answer. Most men aren't going to admit that they like crazy women, but a lot of the women that often get called crazy have redeeming qualities like being sexually adventurous, free-spirited, or just aggressive. Many men also think they can tame these women. It's the same with women wanting bad boys. Ultimately, your best approach is to have the good qualities of crazy without actually being crazy, and they're usually passionate and don't hold back how they feel. I feel like the guys saying they don't like drama always end up with a crazy girl. Conclusion: they are drama themselves, but blame the woman. Some of those guys totally accountability basically. In other words, they don't like girls who react to their nonsense. They say, she's so crazy, and conveniently leave out the part where they got caught cheating with her best friend, hooking up with their ex, and ghosted for 10 days or something. Guys overlook crazy when they are really attracted to them. But nobody likes emotionally unavailable women who create chaos because they have unresolved issues they never addressed and refuse to work on themselves because of the "if you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best" garbage. Sadly, chaos is all they know. It's where they find comfort. And when there is no chaos, they create it. They need that turmoil in their lives to feel normal. And that's the saddest part of it. I hear you. That makes sense. Letting you know right now, we do not mess with these girls beyond sex, so don't try being one thinking it gets you married. Yeah right, explain my marriage then LMAO. Matt. A wise man told me once upon a time, don't stick your D in crazy. I've seen many a friend face repercussions for failing to abide by this one rule. Care to list some repercussions? After I broke up with one crazy ex, she tried to get back with her previous ex who was married with a pregnant wife. The crazy ex drove up to their house 2 states away and stabbed pregnant wife a dozen times. Pregnant wife and baby survived. Fortunately, crazy ex went to prison for 10 years. She was released not long ago. That is legitimately crazy, not just crazy. Recreational use only. That sentence is cold bro mayo. I think a lot of people initially find impulsive thrill-seeking people a lot of fun, and they are. But the shine really wears off. That when you're actually trying to build a relationship, not just have fun / get to know each other. When you've just met, it's super fun and crazy that this person randomly pulled over and went skinny dipping at midnight in the cold. However, after a year of being together, them deciding to vanish for 6 hours because they caught a good vibe with some strangers and decided to drive to the beach and get high whilst you frantically tried to figure out WTF was going on, ice much less fun. Broken people like broken people. It's a mess. A beautiful mess for outsiders. Thank you. Crazy people attract crazy people. They like crazy girls because of the thrill. It's never boring. A roller coaster ride of emotions. Boys like crazy girls, men likes mature woman. It's people with attachment issues and low self-esteem. It's easy for some people to mistake drama for love. I have never read something that resonated more with my inner teenager early 20s. I promise you that all crazy girls are not better in bed. Yes, but only in bed or when deciding to take it there. Sometimes people think promiscuity is crazy. Often, being seen as crazy is just because of a need we feel, and we go along with the perception because it helps us get what we want. From personal experience, I have no doubt men often choose short-term crazy over longer-term stable. Often, this is with the idea of having both without the long-term girls knowing. What do you mean crazy? I hear men call women crazy for anything. Do you mean obsessive? Stalking his social media, paranoid, jealous, starting fights at Waffle House, or she's temperamental and psycho towards anyone when triggered, like rage blackouts? Does she believe in something you think is crazy, like conspiracies or fairies? Crazy how? She probably reacts to his BS, and he isn't used to it. He's used to women being the bigger person and walking away or letting him down easy. Then he meets a woman who adores him, puts her heart and soul into the relationship in and out of the bedroom. He's down cause he likes the attention, but he likes attention from anyone, so he FKS around. She is deeply hurt and triggered, and he isn't expecting the reaction he gets, so she's crazy. Whether it's her angers, messaging the other woman, exposing him, sending him a glitter bomb. Trust me, I know. Only in bed is a fact. Took me a while, but I eventually realized that it's not the crazy bit that guys like. It's that crazy girls are generally vulnerable. And I don't mean that in a romantic way. This is it. Honestly, men who are more predatory prefer vulnerable women. Whether it's them being way younger, having parental problems, low self-esteem, mental problems that make them easier to manipulate. If he's decent, then he won't go after someone looking for those qualities specifically. Haha. Well, let me debunk that myth for you. Being crazy doesn't automatically make someone better in bed. It's more about compatibility, communication, and trust. Plus, crazy is subjective and can mean different things to different people. Just be yourself. From my experience, this usually just means girls who are mentally unwell. Like they have anxiety/depression/daddy issue combination, probably with some other things. For me, this manifested in an over-edginess to please, especially in sexual situations. And men definitely responded well to that. However, once my craziness was manifesting in their eyes as overly emotional or clingy or what have you, they didn't really gaff if I gave good head or was willing to be submissive in bed. Thankfully, I've healed myself since then, and I think a mature grown man wouldn't say such things. Leave it to little boys to think this way. I absolutely do not. I will say men are way too quick to call women, or anyone for that matter, crazy. Calling someone else crazy is a way for a lot of guys to avoid accepting that they did something wrong. That being said, I have zero time for legit crazy. I don't care if that might mean someone is better in bed. Crazy equals problems. No, every time I hear about some dumber dude talking about loving a crazy girl, it almost always ends with one or both in jail or dead. I cannot fathom why mentally unstable people want to be with mentally unstable people, and the fact people try to normalize this behavior like it's healthy. Crazy in bed? That's totally different. But crazy? Nah, I care too much about my mental health than to play childish games with someone who can't control themselves. My god, stop watching so many teen dramas on TV. I swear so many of the people posting here have no ability to differentiate between media and real life. Use some critical thinking. Here's a starting point. WTF does crazy even mean? I was gonna ask this too. Is calling a girl crazy like calling a guy a narcissist? We can just throw those words around at anyone who isn't compatible with us now. Define crazy. Calling a woman crazy is a very common tactic that men use when a woman calls them out on their BS. All of a sudden we are crazy. Both women and men should be mature enough to communicate with each other if something is bothering them without going into the crazy conversation. Granted, there are women that are toxic, which I think that's what you're referring to here. Now, as far as are they crazy in bed, toxic relationships release a lot of adrenaline and hormones. So the sex might look good or might feel good, but it's just our hormones.